Hey guys, so I wanted to quickly show you Anki, which is a spaced repetition implementation, which is essentially something that I've stolen from the medical school people as a philosophy graduate student. So uh, here is like the medical school Anki wiki. You can see they've got almost 150,000 people in here. So the med school students know what's up. And I think they're like the only community that really knows how useful Anki is. So what is Anki and what is spaced repetition? Well, it's essentially just flashcards, but with an extra mechanic, which is based on the forgetting curve. So the forgetting curve is just essentially the basic idea that over time, as you fail to think about some piece of information, you are more likely to forget that piece of information. So, for example, if I meet someone new and I learn their name, I'll probably remember it, 5 minutes from now, but I'm less likely to remember it an hour from now. I'm even less likely to remember it 2 weeks from now. I'm almost certainly going to forget it 10 years from now. So that's the idea shown in this graph right here, is just that over time, if you don't reinforce, if you don't reiterate a certain piece of information, then you're going to eventually forget it. So how do we fix that? Well, we just decide to review information that we don't want to forget before we forget it. And so to do that, there have been a number of algorithms developed by psychologists and scientists with the goal of simply reviewing information that you don't want to forget before the time that you're likely to forget it is. So again, if I'm trying to remember someone's name, and let's say I'm really bad at names, so I forget people's names within a day, then I would need to review their name before the day's up. But the cool thing about this is that every time you review a piece of information, you'll remember it for longer. So let's say I reviewed a flashcard or a piece of information after a day, then I'll probably remember it. Now that I've reviewed it twice, I'll probably remember it for about 5 days. So the next review won't need to be done until 5 days from now. And again, that increases the next length of time. So then I'll just need to review it 15 days from now, and then 30 days from now, and then 60 days. And it continues to exponentially increase until you're at the point where you only need to review a piece of information every 10 plus years in order to retain it over time. A couple cool things I wanted to show you. The first is just something Andy Matuszak mentioned, which is that spaced repetition memory systems make memory a choice. So usually memory is something that happens by chance, but if you use a spaced repetition memory system like Anki, you actually get to decide not to forget something, and that's simply by putting it into your spaced repetition system. A rule of thumb that Gwern recommends is that if you think over your lifetime you'll spend only up to 5 minutes over the course of your entire life looking something up or losing time by forgetting it, then it's worthwhile to put into your spaced repetition system. And the way he gets to that number is he calculated basically how much time it'll take to review a single flashcard over the course of your entire life. And because it only takes a couple seconds to review a single flashcard, it's likely to not take even 5 minutes over the course of your entire life. So if you think it'll save you 5 minutes at some point in your life, or additionally over the course of your life, then it's worth putting in your spaced repetition system. So about a year ago, I wanted to mess around with spaced repetition, so I decided to try it out with something that I thought would be useful, which is to memorize the NATO phonetic alphabet. I have a terrible memory, but I used I created some flashcards in Anki with the phonetic alphabet you see here. And I now have this memorized perfectly. I know all of the words that stand for the letters. So when I'm on the phone, spelling my name, I'm able to use these to avoid confusion. It's kind of a silly little thing, but it's actually useful in my life. And it kind of was a proof of concept for me to see that spaced repetition actually works. So I recommend, if you're interested in using spaced repetition, don't jump directly into super complicated topics, but instead start with something that's kind of fun and easy, just to kind of create a proof of concept for yourself. I'll just quickly show what I'm using spaced repetition for now, which is philosophy. So I think Gwern, his point of view on the saving 5 minutes over the course of your life is valuable, but I actually think if you're trying to be an expert or a really high-level thinker on some topic, it's important to have all of the basic concepts super locked into your mind and ready to be used at any time. I almost think about it like Legos. If you want to build like a complex Lego structure, you need to have all the blocks ready to go and easily to grab. And so those blocks are kind of like the core concepts of any, complex topic that you're thinking about. A good analogy might be in math. If you're trying to do difficult algebra, then it really helps to have your arithmetic down, because you don't want to be trying to figure out arithmetic from first principles while doing advanced algebra. If you're able to just, if you see 2 + 2 and your brain just instantly knows 4, that opens up a lot of room in your mind to focus on the actual algebra. So I think that principle kind of applies across disciplines for any sort of complex thinking. So I'm using it for philosophy, and it's mostly to load in those simple core concepts. Here's an example of a flashcard. I use what's called close deletion. So there's just something blanked out on the flashcard, and I just need to recall what that particular thing is. So this is the blank response to higher order evidence. If you reason correctly, you should ignore your higher order evidence completely. This is the right reasons view. So if I hit, it'll reveal that it's the right reasons view. If I was doing this card for real, it would ask me if I got it, and it would show me when my next review is. So I would say good, and it would probably be like a month from now when I need to review this card again. So here's another one, like this is the calibrationist response, and let me show you what I do. I actually have multiple deletions of the same card, and just having both perspectives, now having to answer this question, whereas before I needed to figure out what this blanked out thing was, having both angles really, really helps with retention. So they'll get spread out, so you won't see them run after the other. But so what is the calibrationist response to higher order evidence? You should basically adopt the credence recommended by your higher order evidence. You should adopt the credence supported by your higher evidence. Good. Okay, so those are kind of the kind of flashcards that I use for philosophy. I think this is pretty applicable to any discipline. Just getting the core concepts down, or the core facts, or the core ideas, or the core people, et cetera, et cetera. So the app I recommend is Anki. You can access it here. This comes preloaded with pretty much everything you need to do spaced repetition. It is free. I think the mobile app costs money, but you can just go to the web version for free on your phone anyway, which is what I do. And it comes preloaded with the algorithm itself. So all you have to do is start putting in flashcards, and you're good to go. I'll leave you with 2 articles which I think are really inspiring. One is by Michael Nielsen, talking about spaced repetition, augmenting long-term memory, and another is by Andy Matuszak, which is some recommendations about how to write good prompts. And I believe, if I remember correctly in this article, he actually uses cooking so he uses recipes. So you can really, you can stretch the use of this quite extensively. And he argues that using it for cooking is actually really valuable. So hopefully that was helpful, and have fun.